In 1927, a small animation studio in Hollywood lost the rights to its own main character overnight. The company was nearly broke, its future uncertain. Less than a century later, that same studio would control some of the most powerful brands on Earth, shape global culture, and generate tens of billions of dollars every year. This is the story of how Disney turned a cartoon mouse into a financial empire. The story begins in the aftermath of World War I, in a growing entertainment industry driven by silent films and experimental animation. Walt Disney, a young artist from the Midwest, moved to Hollywood with little money and a clear ambition to build a studio that treated cartoons as serious storytelling, not just short gags. Alongside his brother, Roy Disney, who handled finances and operations, Walt focused on creativity while Roy focused on survival. At the time, animation studios depended on distributors who controlled payments and character rights. This imbalance meant creators often built popular characters but did not legally own them. That financial structure would soon test Disney's future in a critical way. In 1928, after losing the rights to his character, Oswald, the Lucky Rabbit, Walt Disney made a strategic decision. Instead of quitting, he created a new character that the company would fully own. That character was Mickey Mouse, the release of Steamboat Willie, one of the first cartoons with synchronized sound, transformed Disney from a struggling studio into a national name. Throughout the 1930s, Disney reinvested nearly all profits into innovation. The company produced the first full-length animated feature, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. In 1937, the production nearly bankrupted the studio, but the film became a massive box office success. This established a pattern that would define Disney's strategy: high risk, high investment, and long-term brand building. By the 1950s, Disney expanded beyond films into television and physical experiences. Disneyland opened in 1955, turning storytelling into a real-world destination. This created a new business model where movies, merchandise, and theme parks fed into each other, multiplying revenue streams instead of relying on a single product. After Walt Disney's death in 1966, the company entered a period of uncertainty. Leadership struggled to maintain creative momentum, and by the late 1970s, Disney's stock price stagnated. Investors and corporate raiders began to view the company as a collection of valuable assets that were not being fully exploited. In 1984, a critical decision reshaped the company's future. Michael Eisner was hired as chief executive, bringing a more aggressive, profit-focused strategy. Under his leadership, Disney expanded globally, leaned heavily into marketing, and transformed its characters into large-scale franchises. The company shifted from being a film studio into a diversified entertainment corporation. This marked a strategic transformation. Intellectual property became the core asset. Characters and stories were no longer just creative works. They became financial engines that could power movies, television, merchandise, and theme parks at the same time. By the early 2000s, Disney faced new challenges: internal conflicts, leadership disputes, and declining performance in animation raised questions about the company's creative future. The solution was not to rebuild from the ground up, but to acquire proven success. In 2006, Disney purchased Pixar for $7.4 billion. 3 years later, it acquired Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion. In 2012, it added Lucasfilm, the home of Star Wars, for another $4 billion. These deals carried massive financial risk. Each one depended on audiences continuing to care about these stories for decades. The gamble paid off. Superhero films and Star Wars releases generated billions in global box office revenue. These franchises fueled merchandise sales, streaming content, and major theme park expansions around the world. By the late 2010s, Disney had become one of the most powerful media companies on the planet. It controlled a vast library of intellectual property, major television networks, film studios, and global theme parks. In 2019, it launched Disney Plus, stepping directly into competition with major technology and media giants. The company's growth reshaped the entertainment industry. Smaller studios struggled to compete with Disney's scale and marketing power. Investors benefited from long-term growth driven by predictable revenue from global franchises. The financial lesson is clear. Ownership of intellectual property creates compounding value. Disney did not rely on single hits. It built characters and worlds that could be reused, reimagined, and monetized across platforms for generations. From a lost cartoon character to a global financial powerhouse, Disney's rise was driven by risk, reinvestment, and control over its creations. The company did not just build movies. It built a system where imagination became an asset and stories became infrastructure. In the world of profit and panic, Disney's real magic was not fantasy, strategy.